Buenos dias. Because I am really late on the Scorpio season forecast, I figured I would just do the Scorpio season and the Sagittarius season together. So we're gonna talk about the sun, what the sun's doing during Scorpio season and Sagittarius season, and then we're gonna get into what the planets will be doing during both of those seasons. All right. So let's get started. I'm excited. How has Scorpio season been for y'all so far? For me, so far so good. We came out of the Mercury retrograde on November 2nd, and then we turned around and voted 2 days later, and hopefully that retrograde ain't mess y'all up too much as far as making a sound decision. As far as like what I see on Facebook and stuff like that, it seems like it did. At least for some people. Other people that are part of my tribe, I see y'all still on the same page. We still on the same type time, and that's what it is. Black people are not monolithic. So while some of us are easily pleased, some of us are still capable of staying grounded and keeping our mind to the goals. You know what I mean? I kind of get disappointed in those that are easily pleased, but I can't. It's not my place. So let's get into the Scorpio season. So Scorpio season is from October 23rd to November 21st. Scorpio season is in the 8th house. It's ruled by Mars and Pluto, so you're dealing with the day of the week of Tuesday. Scorpios are also a water sign. Scorpios are complicated. They're independent and creative. A Scorpio finds difficulty in figuring out what makes them happy. They are very sensitive and jealous. They do not forgive or forget. However, they are loyal, and they are also very goal-oriented. They are competitive and great leaders. They have a great sense of intuition, and they are great investigators. And they're definitely hard workers. And that's what I have for my notes as far as like a couple of texts I've read. Good stones to have if you're a Scorpio or if you're just trying to survive Scorpio season is aquamarine. Aquamarine is a good calming stone. It's helpful for the throat chakra, and it aids with relaxation when you're in fear, which we know Scorpios come with the fearless energy. They're great for communication, also energy, strength, and better eating habits. The rose quartz. Rose quartz is your love stone. Rose quartz is all about love and relationships, helping with self-confidence and keeping a positive attitude. And it's also good for getting over things, forgiveness, and moving on. Moldavite is also another stone that's good for Scorpio season. This stone assists one with seeing past current realities, which is very good as we're dealing with Pluto in retrograde now while we're in Scorpio season. So we have a lot of secrets that are unraveling. We also have Uranus still sitting in that Taurus energy. So we still have that November 30th. What that tell you? Oh, you're a Sagittarius. I'm getting into Sagittarius in a minute. Right now I'm doing the sun in Scorpio. What I do is the planetary forecast, honey. So what I do, it applies to everyone. I'm basically, if you watch like the Weather Channel and you know what the weather is doing on such and such date, what I do is tell y'all what the planets are doing. So this is my forecast for the planets, and the electromagnetic energy is going to bring upon us, or it has already brought upon us. So yeah, hematite is also another stone that deals with Scorpio season, and this brings peace to Scorpios. It removes negative and judgmental thoughts. And rhodochrosite, which is I really like it. It's a nice sparkly pink stones, different shades of pink, and like a little bit of a coffee color mixed with it. And this stimulates the feelings of love and compassion. So during the season, you're going to deal with a lot of stones that are dealing with your root chakra and dealing with habits and routines, because that Scorpio energy is going to bring you into renovating a routine you already have, bringing in a new one, creating new goals, which is cool because we came out of the harvest moon where we were, harvesting things and manifesting things. And now it's time to get into the nooks and crannies of all that we're trying to manifest and creating a nice outline to make it goal worthy. So if you guys are already doing that, if you guys already feel like y'all on the path on that, y'all already a step ahead than most, Getting more into my notes, during this season you'll feel extremely intense because we know Scorpio, that Pluto energy, as well as Mars, because we got Pluto and Mars combined during the Scorpio energy. So it's like a lot of fire and a lot of water at the same time. So it's very intense, very emotionally passionate. During Libra season, my Libra season forecast that you can find on YouTube, I got into, the cuffing season, how it correlates to cuffing season. During Libra season, you're in your first draft pick, you're being fair, you're being social, and all those things that Libras do. And then now we're coming in the Scorpio season, and now in this moment, you may have noticed that a lot of your relationships that are not intense, are not emotionally invoking, that are not goal oriented, all of your shallow relationships, they're getting boring to you, right? You don't really want to spend time with those people. You really don't want to put energy into that. You're craving that, and that is that Scorpio energy of intensity. It makes you crave that same intensity. So now we're in our second round of cuffing season. So now you're going towards those people that have been consistent with you. Now you're going towards those people that make you feel intense and sensual and passionate. And then when we come into Sagittarius season, then you'll have that one, because we'll come into that after we get all sensual and nasty, we come to the holly and the bells playing and stuff like that. But I'll get into Sagittarius season in a minute. So back to Scorpio. Coming back to removing yourself from a lot of people and places and things that are not as intense or don't have a deep emotional meaning. You might find yourself craving intense, intimate relationships if you don't have any already in your pocket. Scorpio is also a fixed sign, which is stubborn, is stuck in their ways. So that's probably why you start to feel the energy of creating a routine you want a way to be stuck in for a little while, especially as we're like turning into the season. And I call this the hibernation season. This is actually my first year being out and about in my business the way I am. So we'll see how this hibernation season goes for me, because usually like December, January, you can't find me. I'm in the crib. But now I work for myself, so I can't be in the crib. See how that works? The universe always makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. A couple more stones to have during the season. We're still staying within the aqua color stones because we're still touching the heart chakra. So you want to deal with Amazonite. That balances the feminine and masculine energies. It promotes kindness and practicality. It's good for artists and men. It's definitely a good man stone. And it helps balance emotions and physical stamina. Agate is good for strength, protection from bad dreams, stress, and energy strains and upset stomachs. Fluorite, I love fluorite. Fluorite is such a pretty stone. It relieves symptoms of kidney disease and ulcers. It also helps with your respiratory tract, which is great now because we're entering flu season, and this incompetent healthcare system we reside in is, trying to diagnose everything as COVID. And so we have waves of COVID going on, so yeah, definitely want to tap into things that are going to deal with your respiratory tract. It also helps with stimulating cell regeneration, helps with bones, arthritis. You could use fluorite as a topical with some like oil, put it on your body. That's why I make organite and gemstone jewelry. You can check out my website, letsnobodiescollection.com. I have pieces with all these stones. It neutralizes negative vibes and helps decision making. Garnet is also a really good one. I love garnet. It's a beautiful, nice dark maroon stone. It's great for manifestation, sensuality, desire, self-confidence, and enjoyment without guilt. And honestly, garnet is good for you guys to have all year round because Pluto is in retrograde in Capricorn. And with Pluto in retrograde in Capricorn deals with like the law and boundaries and restrictions. And with Pluto dealing with transformation and death and rebirth, and it also being in retrograde, we have been unraveling a lot of things, a lot of secrets. So a lot of transformation has been going on in that Capricorn energy of law and boundaries and restriction and things like that. And so garnet is definitely an awesome stone to have all year round for what's happening in Pluto. And Pluto will be in that energy until like 2024, 2026. So all this stuff that y'all have with the transformation of power and secrets coming out and stuff like that, that's going on for the next 4 to 6 years. So hang tight, baby. and then after they get out of Capricorn, then it goes into Aquarius. So then once like we get out of this like unraveling and breaking down the restrictions and stuff we built for us, we come into the freedom of Aquarius energy. Like that is like, it's so exciting. You know what I mean? You can't get mad at that. It's just, it's always the process is always an earthquake. The colors during the season are black. We know black is the color of gravity, wisdom, mourning, elegance, security, detachment. It's also the color of seclusion and rest, the introverted journey, soul, reception, and grounding and protection. Black deals with Saturn, which is the color of discipline, or the planet of discipline and order. I just got done talking to y'all about Capricorn energy. Black also deals with the number 8, which is the number of balance, power, justice, and authority. And y'all heard me. When I put this on YouTube, y'all can rewind. Red deals with passion, royalty, power, leadership, war, vengeance. Red also deals with the number 9, which is the number of endings. Still dealing with that Pluto energy. Red is also associated with Mars. And this deals with physical energy, stamina, and sexuality, activity, and survival. And, of course, your root chakra and passion. During this season, your root chakra will indeed be in 1,000. And for those of you who are aware, our chakras are infinite. So any chakras that you have dealing with these colors, the black and the red, they will be on 1,000. So the root chakra stimulates your life force. It's energy and vitality. It also deals with your sexuality and your digestive system. So it's definitely a good time to deal with your digestive system. I'm going to get into it in a minute because I also read Metunetter, but just like a forewarn, during the season we like to eat a lot. We have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, we have those things, but what y'all don't realize is during the season this is actually supposed to be the season of fasting, and I'll get into that in a minute as far as like the Metunetters and the ancient African spirituality practices go. But in order to we're supposed to be fasting during this time, and it's not ironic. I don't think it's by accident that we are being told to stuff ourselves during this time. I don't think so at all. Everything is supposed to reverse what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to be. Moving forward, so dealing with the root chakra also facilitates a connection with nature, your reproductive glands, and grounding. Root chakra deals with the earth element, resting place, and life force. During this time, it's a great time to drink dandelion root tea. Burgundy, wine color, and maroon also deal with the combination of red and black, and those are also great colors for this season. So if you want to like change your home decor, change your altar colors, if you guys are into like changing the fabric on your altars, or fabric on your body and stuff like that, those are the colors. Tuesday. Scorpio season deals with Tuesday, which is the day of Mars, and this deals with protection, strength, courage, sexual energy, healing, taking initiative, motivation. Bloodstone is good for Tuesdays. Garnet is good for Tuesdays. The metal iron. Pyrite, I love pyrite, it's beautiful. That's also good for Tuesdays. Also rhodochrosite, rhodonite, dragon's blood, and pine. I thought it was so funny. Not like funny, haha funny, but ironic funny that like during the summertime we had Black Tuesday. And I also thought that it was kind of disheartening because we're so disconnected with our spirituality. We don't even realize when we're binding ourselves to things we have no business binding ourselves to. By us creating a Black Tuesday, we binded ourselves to that Mars, Aries, fire, war energy. We have to unbind ourselves. Black days should be every day. Don't bind yourself to that Aries energy. Don't bind yourself to Mars. You know what I mean? Like, yes, have that. We definitely need to have that. We definitely need to have Ogun. And a lot of us need a lot more Ogun energy than what we have. Otherwise, we would have more things going on. We would have a structured military. We would have our own structured police force if we tapped into our Ogun energy a lot more than we tap in our Oshun. Like, yes, let's love each other, but we need to have guns too, not for each other, but for those people out there. You know what I'm saying? So by us binding ourselves to the Tuesday, that was not the best idea. I did not indulge in Black Tuesday because I knew, and I was trying to tell other people, but they weren't trying to hear me out. Let's not do that. We are binding ourselves to energies that we should not be doing, and we don't understand what we're doing. But the other people that are promoting it and glorifying it and pushing it, you best believe they know. If you look at the map, the way DC is made, those houses in that position at those angles and all that stuff going on, none of that stuff's by accident. All these government buildings are built in a certain angle and way and things like that. None of that stuff is by accident. We have to get into with our spirituality, because our enemy is definitely in tune with our spirituality. You get what I'm saying? Anyway. So Ogun, coming to Ogun, that is the energy for this season, all about Mars and manifestation. He is the Lord of metals, specifically iron, minerals, tools, war, hunting, wild beasts, accidents, associated with blood, heals illnesses of the blood. His weapon is a machete and weapons of iron. Exoxys is also associated with Mars. He's associated with jail, justice, and persecution. He is a hunter and a shaman, and known as the one who works with witchcraft. He's connected with the hunter communities and an ally of nature spirits in the forest. So these are the energies that are by the veil during this time, while we're tapped into this Mars energy. Ogun and Exoxys. So if you want to get into war, hunting, nature, or justice, jail, and persecution, it's definitely the time to tap into those energies. Pluto. Like I said, not only is Mars associated with Scorpio energy, but Pluto is as well. And that deals with Oya. And this is the storm goddess of a Yoruba. She is the hurricanes that forms the coast of West Africa. She travels across the Atlantic Oceans. She's the tornadoes and twisters. She carries the souls to the spirit world, dominates the marketplace, the one to invoke for women's rights, which is very fitting because, as we know, like in some areas around this time is indeed hurricane season. So a lot of you guys will be dealing with Oya, and definitely safeness to you all. Safeness and peace. Absolutely. We had already went over Pluto, dealing with secrets and death and mysteriousness, rebirth, governing power itself, including power struggles between people and governments, discovery, shadows, and garnet and obsidian are restored for Pluto. Mars, and we know Pluto's in retrograde, and Mars deals with protection, strength, courage, sexual energy, healing, blood, and the stones is bloodstone, flint, garnet, iron, pyrite, red jasper, and ruby. Dragon's blood is also a good stone for this time. I have dragon's blood items on my website as well, and this stone is good. It's a good antifungal, antibacterial, antiviral. It helps with wounds, acne, eczema, and psoriasis. It assists with that power struggle, with that Pluto energy, protection, healing, and enhancing one's spiritual power. Pine is a great plant, herb to have in your space. It helps loosen the phlegm and the mucus. It's also a great antibacterial and diuretic, antiseptic. Also great for uplifting, energizing, and helps with focusing. During this time, we're dealing with the 8th house, and that rules birth, death, sex, transformation, mysteries, and intense bonds. So by the end of Scorpio season, some things are not going to be the same. There's going to be a lot of transformation going on by the end of the month. Wait, there's more. So much more. Scorpio is also a water sign, which deals with sensuality and sensitivity, artistic, creative, and intuitive energy, and also romantic and cultured energy, as we're stepping deep within the depth of cuffing season. Tap into that water energy. The Death card, if you guys are into tarot, the Death card is associated with Scorpio energy, and that deals with new beginnings, transformation, and rebirth, having a new outlook, regeneration. The King of Cups is also another tarot card associated with Scorpio, and this is of a person of great social skills. The number 0 is associated with Scorpio season, and that's because this is the number of absolute power. So we're still dealing with that power energy, eternity, and universal infinity. Sphere 0, once you get into the nutters on the sphere of life, sphere 0 deals with source, infinite potential, explicit oneness, and freedom. At the faculties of man's spirit, this is the absence of conditioning, limitations, and energy cannot be created or destroyed. And that's when you become one with that concept. And so, giving you guys a gist, I've read many books over the years. This is like 10 years worth of reading and research of multiple books. So these are all my notes. The things that I was reading to you guys are all my notes that I have created over the years of these seasons and tarots and things like that. And that's what I read to y'all every season. And then I also get into, after I get done my notes that I read from different texts, I get into the Kabbalah. I like to touch all the religions because I like, with the intentions that you guys see that it's essentially one, you know what I mean? So getting into Scorpio, this is the Kabbalah. The month of Scorpio is the left column water sign and is ruled by the planet Mars and Pluto. The Book of Formation speaks of 7 planets in the solar system. In the last century, 3 more planets were revealed, and as a result, Pluto has been found to bear influence on the sign of Scorpio. All water signs are emotional, but Scorpions are particularly irrational when it comes to their emotions. They go to extremes in both positive and negative aspects. There is only black and white in the world of Scorpion, no gray areas. If you are not their friend, then you are by default their enemy, and you will most definitely be treated that way. As the left column of the water sign, Scorpios have a tremendous desire for power and control. They seek these measures at any cost. They do not waver, they do not falter, and they stay their course with total determination and strength, which can sometimes result in unnecessary force and violence. That's that Mars energy. Mars, which rules the month of Scorpio, is the planet and Greek god of war, which makes all Scorpios warriors and have the drive to eliminate their enemy, no matter what the toll it takes on anyone. All the Scorpios I know, they like to fight. They like to fight. They even tried to fight me a couple times, and this is my own sister and my cousin and shit. Scorpio rules life and death, as well as the power and energy of the seed, which at best manifests itself as new life. It also gives Scorpios deep sexual desires that are rooted in compulsion to propagate the human race. In their efforts to be fruitful and multiply, Scorpios can go as far as to damage their reproductive and sexual organs, leading to impotency, infertility, and cancer. Scorpio is a fixed sign, which means they do not like change and want to harness total control over their lives and the lives of those around them. Their greatest fear is to lose control. In the Scorpio world of extremes, love is everything. If they feel their love is not reciprocated, this love can turn into hate. It is very difficult for Scorpios to forgive and forget. The typical Scorpio will not rest until he has revenge on the friend that betrayed him and let him down. This is the hardest correction of Scorpios, to find the central column, control the urge to avenge and to live and to love and let go. So what I like about the Kabbalah is when they go over the zodiac energy, they go over what you must conquer within your zodiac energy to get to the next level in this life or the next, whichever way God got you set up. So that's what it is for Scorpios. Our job throughout the month is to transform that which is bitter into sweet, which is lowly to lofty. It takes a strong consciousness and self-control to achieve this transformation. It is not easy to make the dark forces completely white. Scorpions are very good business people. They like money because it gives them control and power. They're very good politicians, doctors, physiologists, astrologers, and financiers, my bad. They have very powerful metaphysical ability and intuition, very strong mystical and spiritual powers. If a Scorpio chooses the wrong path, they could be the most lethal and ruthless members of the mafia. The Great Flood took place in the month of Sheshvan, which is the month of Scorpio. Noah's generation was and that touches the energy of Oya. Noah's generation was very corrupt, and God saw no other way but to destroy it completely with a flood. Only Noah, his family, and a pair of all of Earth's creatures remained alive. This tends to be a cumbersome month of negative energy. It is one of the only months lacking in holidays, which makes it a good time to focus on the patterns in which we have fallen, the ill feelings we harbor, and the grudges that we still bear. If we overcome the natural tendency towards revenge, towards taking the law into our own hands, towards giving people what they deserve, and to stick to revealing the more light in the world, we can hope to survive this tenuous month. The war against the darkness is not fought with guns and artillery, but with lighting as many candles as possible. The more light we bring in the world, the more darkness we eradicate. For darkness cannot exist where there is light. And yeah, that's Scorpio season. That was beautiful. That's Scorpio season from the sense of the Kabbalah. And now we're going to get into the Netter energy. I'm going to get into the spiritual directions after I read all of them. But let's do it. So, Heru Kahudi is the comedic energy for this season. And coming back to Ogun, this deals with the fifth sphere. And coming into my spiral of the fifth sphere, when we deal with, this is Metu. If you guys never read it, me and Ezekiel, or if you go on YouTube, we have a book club and we read the whole book together, and you guys can check out the videos on YouTube. But we're dealing with the fifth sphere. Fifth sphere deals with that second act of creation, and this enforces order, and all things are protected, but the chief interest is the world. So that's that no one is above the all, even though we are one. We are still individuals. The fifth sphere also deals with enforcement, making the celestial government, which relations are enforced. When you deal with the fifth body of man, the specializing organs of being manifestations acquire the spiritual qualities that distinguish them. When you deal with the fifth sphere of manifestation, the Netter becomes aware that in order to become an existence, one becomes aware of differences and opposition. And then when you get into the fifth level of faculty of man's spirit, seat of man's analytical faculty, understand and apply principles of justice. So during this time, we're in the energy of knowing how to separate pieces, but also knowing how to put them as a whole, and knowing that not one piece is more important than the whole, but they're still pieces. So that's the fifth sphere. We're dealing with the planet of Mars and Tuesday. The color of blood red and also purple, which is the color of royalty. Those two. Yeah, blood red and purple. The number 11, which is the celestial number, the celestial authoritative government type thing we're dealing with. Gems during the season are red, coral, and garnet. So you're dealing with those root chakra stones. As far as herbs go, in your bath, you can have, I don't know how to pronounce it. Rompe, R-O-M-P-E, Saragwe. And this herb is good for the removal of negative spirits and cleansing your home. It's also good to use in like mop water, mop your floor with it. Holly is also good in your bath, and holly is good for treating fevers, joint pain, swelling, chest congestion, moving your bowels, and urine and also circulation. So that really deals with just flushing your body out, which is very good during the cold and flu season. Anamu is another one for your bath, and this is good for improving your air quality. And Vencedor, I couldn't find that one. It's probably like a more modern name to it. As far as oils go, pine is good to have as an oil in this moment, and that's good for colds and coughs, allergies, if you're dealing with UTIs, and also sinus infections. Cedar wood is also good, and that's a good antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, diuretic, insecticidal, antifungal, and it also helps with anxiety. So putting those in like a humidifier or something like that would be kind of cool. Or like if you guys have like the oils that you kind of like sniff, or like, incense during this time. Pine, coming back to pine. Also tobacco, which is great for religious ceremonies. It's good for dressing wounds, pain, and toothaches. Tobacco is actually really good for you, but it's highly addictive. So please be mindful with how you guys utilize the tobacco. And then also cedarwood. So a lot of plants that are dealing with antiseptic and dealing with removing mucus from your body, off all systems of your body during the season, which is great, which is why we should be fasting during the season and not filling our bodies up with food. This is the season to fast so that we don't catch things and while we're in the buildings because it's too cold to be outside. You know what I mean? This is not the time to be Thanksgiving binging and Christmas binging. The spiritual direction during this time is the north. The mundane direction is the southeast. So don't face that way while you're praying. The personality portfolio, as far as through his actions of the Kabit, which is your lower being, your animal spirit, the hot and dry energy of Mars has the following effects on your personality, which is your sphere 9. Emotional traits. During this time, you may feel the need to manifest courage, moving away from the lack of fear of bodily harm. You may also feel more energetic, prudent, forceful, enterprising, constructive. I felt really constructive yesterday. Yesterday was a Virgo moon. Muscularly skillful, zealous, passionate, delighted, and motivated by situations involving challenges or hard work and dangerous but relatively short work. Some negative emotional traits during this time you may feel like you want to fight everybody, antagonistic, pugnacious, arrogant, rash, destructive, violent, forceful, especially like with everything going on with like the election and stuff like that. It might be like a wave of that going on. Irritable, overzealous, excessively passionate, and also inclined to actually utilize tobacco during this time. Please do be mindful because it's very addictive. Alcohol, murders happening during this time, as well as treason and cruelty, and a lot of death because this is the time of rebirth with that Pluto energy. Mental traits during this time, analysis, gaining insight into things by separating them into their parts. So we're getting back into that mindset of separating things, but still remembering that they're whole. Career functions that are on the highlight during this time are soldiers, fighters, warriors, executioners, butchers, hunters, people employed in dangerous undertakings, firemen, athletes, surgeons, mechanics, criminal lawyers, prosecutors, policemen, and shrewd and driven business executives like myself. Spiritual portfolio during this time. Justice, we're definitely going to be focused on justice, detachment in terms of what we have been detached to, what we need to be detached to, things like that. Also with courage and external obstructions. Spiritual function during this time. Let's remember that underlying all actions is the urge to succeed, which depends on the following divine law, Mayat. Our protection from all external obstructions is the domain of Herukudi. But all such obstructions are the external projections of the obstructed condition of our life force, caused by our breaking of the laws of Mayat. So as long as you're following the laws of Mayat, you don't have to worry about external obstructions to you achieving your goal. But if you're not aligned, that is, you will be bothered by opposition. By cutting our identity off from our persons and placing it firmly in ourself, the indwelling intelligence, the God in us, we find the strength to be just with others in all situations. Thus, we receive protection from the Supreme Being. It also gives us the courage to sacrifice our lives for the well-being of others. Once you get in tune with the God in you, and you're aligned with Mayat, and you're aligned with your spirit, you will be given. Opposition won't bother you, and that fear of, if we do this for us, if we do this for our people, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. You will no longer feel fear or be worried about what they're going to do. Their opposition, their obstruction will not affect you. You will tunnel vision, because that's what God wants you to have. God wants you on the path, but you have to put yourself there as well. It's not just up, to the Supreme Being. It also gives us the courage to sacrifice our lives. The failure to detach our identity from our persons compromises our sense of justice and our ability to grow spiritually. So that's what's happening in that. Key phrases during this time, if y'all want to build on some mantras and things like that, by setting to work through hard, energetic effort, drive, enterprise, initiative, working on hot-headedness, arrogance, and impatience. Listen to my abundance song, Be Patient, Be Present. That's really what I've been telling myself all weekend, man. Being guided by one sense of power over others. Please do not be guided by one sense of power. Other people love to be in power. We see other new people coming into power after this election. Please don't let their sense of power overpower your power, because they have the same God in them that you have in you. You know what I'm saying? Don't think that somebody, because of their job title, their power is any stronger or yours is any less than, because that's not real life. We all one. Definitely meditating on the urge to move forward, being fair, courageous, and confident. Biological correspondences during this time. Physiologically wise, it is in it is in charge of the immune system during this time. The voluntary musculature system. During this time, you definitely want to eliminate toxins through your skin. Focus on heat production and sexual excitement. Pathologically, you may be dealing with different acute disorders such as fevers, inflammations, infection disorders, COVID. You also may be dealing with wounds during this time, especially from guns and knives, as we deal with that Mars energy. Ruptures, injuries. Comedic therapeutics during this time, maybe surgery, stimulants, tonics, aphrodisiacs. Chinese medicine during this time is a heat system, heat and fire disease to detoxify. So maybe doing like a hot room, a steam room or something during this time is where it's at. Spiritual counsel. When you do like the Metu Netter cards, if you get a Harakudi reading, you are being warned to make sure you are zealous and courageous forward, and being guided by wise counsel, which is Tahuti, a plan, which is Sakur, and knowledge of law, which is Mayat, and being directed by Haru, a decision which has not been influenced by desires or emotion. So definitely get in tune with the God in you during the season. Don't get overwhelmed or feel less than looking at everybody else. Embrace the God in them, because you have the same God. You just got to tap in and tune in. We got the power. Stop voting other people to have power over you and take power over yourself. Ashe. All right, let's get into Sagittarius sun. That's what the Scorpio sun is hitting for. Now we're going to get to the Sagittarius sun. I'm doing both in one because I have so many events back to back. I'm not going to be able to do two separate ones. I won't see you guys again until Capricorn season, but that's all right. Y'all can always play this back at the beginning of Sagittarius season. So Sagittarius season is from November 22nd to December 21st. We're coming out of that water energy, and now we're entering the fire. Feel me? This is the end of harvest and the beginning of winter. Archers will listen to everything you have to say, just as Sagittarians. They are optimistic, kind, and adventurous. They treat others the way they want to be treated. They can be impatient with speaking what's on their mind. They enjoy seeking knowledge, which may give them that opportunist point of view. They are wanderers of the zodiac. Topaz is a good stone during this time. This is usually blue, and it promotes truth and forgiveness and imagination towards new opportunities, which is the energy you'll feel during Sagittarius season. Lapis lazuli promotes friendship, truth, communication, mental clarity, focus, and self-expression. Papagoite helps in developing optimistic and open-minded outlook. Aventurine soothes the mind and gives hope for the future. Turquoise protects from negative energies, takes on the characteristics of its owner, and carries a lot of wisdom and truth, and helps one to understand themselves better and interpret their emotions better. So again, we're still dealing with them aquamarine color stones, and that is fun, right? So getting deeper into Sagittarius season. The Sagittarians enjoy freedom. They are very straightforward. They can be seen as opportunists, impatient, and sometimes promise more than they can deliver. But they mean well when they do it. They're just very optimistic with what they can offer. Yeah, I'm gonna eat. They are open-minded, free thinkers, and the travelers. During this time, people, animals traveled for the winter. They're very extroverted because of their curiosity. During the season, we go from structured love that was directed to specific people, and now we're going towards the vibe of universal love and just loving everyone. We may feel more extroverted during this season. It's time to reflect on all we have learned and celebrate. You have that 'tis the season jolly type thing. All the charities start coming out and stuff like that. This is that Sagittarius energy. You know, things we do regularly, we don't even realize we're tapped into our spirituality. Sagittarius is symbolized by the centaur, which is loving and seeks to create change, energy shifts. They trust their arrow, and where it will land is where it's supposed to land. And this gives a relaxing vibe to the centaur. And that makes me think of the Wheel of Fortune card. When you pull the Wheel of Fortune card, it's just a reminder to let the universe take control. The universe got you. It's okay. Jupiter rules Sagittarius season. This is the planet of luck, expansion, amplification, faith, positive energy, prosperity. It governs travel, with long distance travel and affairs, big business, wealth, religion, law, and higher education. So you'll see certain shifts occur in December in these energies as far as traveling, big businesses. Maybe some things will be happening with some businesses, as well as religion and people obtaining their education. Jupiter in your chart helps one uncover their level of responsibility and the level of therapy one needs. Its house placement determines circumstances best for the holistic health, where you will seek opportunity, confidence, growth, fulfillment. It's also associated with liver and blood circulation, metal, tin, indigo blue, royal purple. Sagittarius season kind of focuses on people at the age 35 to 42. This is the time where someone touches their consciousness. So it takes Jupiter to make a full like zodiac circle around the age 35 to 42. So around that time bracket, you'll feel yourself start to question these things in your life or want to make a shift or something. Which is why you'll see a lot of people go back to school during that time or start traveling or start changing their careers and things like that. Sagittarius season also deals with Thursday, and Thursday, stones to have on Thursday are amethyst, lepidolite. These are purple stones that deal with your third eye chakra, star anise, and chalcedony. Again, Sagittarius is a fire sign, a strong basic instincts, quick to temper and cool. They're physically active and sporty. Again, dealing with the Wheel of Fortune card, which is fate taking a strong hand in life. Just trusting that the universe got it. And because this is a fire sign, Sagittarius deals with wand cards, which is action and here and now and creativity energy. The Orisha during this time is Orunmila. This is Orula, the Yoruba Grand Priest, the embodiment of knowledge and wisdom, the custodian of the Ifa Oracle, associated with Ukeli, rosary, or mala, of yellow and green. It's also associated with wood, cedar, and invoke when seeking wisdom, opportunity, or expansion. That's what this Orisha you can invoke for. Sagittarius also deals with the 9th house. This refers to law, judgment, religious matters, education, immigration, and justice of a country. The number 9, it deals with order, action, forgiveness, compassion, inspiration, spirituality, and divine love. The 9th sphere of manifestation gathers physical elements and forces and coordinates the focus of the other 8 manifestations to give rise to physical things. So this is a stage where you take all of those concepts and mix them with some physical elements. And once you get to the 10th stage of manifestation, you will have your physical form. The 9th stage is seen as the divine womb where the physical meets the spiritual. People with 9 energy work without motive and want greater good for all. Protective and loving energy, universal phenomenon, strong intuition, and uses communication to influence people. So that's what it's hitting for the Sagittarius season. And coming back to the Kabbalah readings for Sagittarius. It is the central column of the fire signs ruled by Jupiter. The letter Samek created the sign of the Sagittarius. Samek comes from the phrase Somek Noflim, supporting the fallen. It says that Hebrew letters came before the Creator to ask the world to be created, beginning with each one. When the letter Samek came before the Creator told it to go back to its place, which is after the letter Nun, and to support the Nun from falling. That is how we get the word Nes, which means miracle in English. The letter Nun created the sign of Scorpio, which is the flood, in which the flood happened. And after the flood, God put the rainbow in the sky as an omen that there would never be a flood again. Sagittarius in Hebrew is called kashet or rainbow. Okay, this is the rainbow in the sky after the flood of Scorpio. This is the rainbow in the sky, an omen between God and Noah. A flood will never destroy the land. It is represented by a centaur, the mythological half-man, half-horse figure who hunts with a bow and arrow. The letter Gamel created Jupiter, which controls expansion and the ability to expand metaphysical vessels. Jupiter represents the desire to learn, to know, in the fields of science, biology, education, art, and music. Sagittarius is a born optimist. For him, everything is always okay and always arranged in the best way possible. Sagittarians feel they can solve all problems and will do all things required of them. Sagittarians are prone to over-optimism, exaggeration, mockery, gambling, and lightheadedness. They are natural philosophers, teachers, educators, lovers, communicators, and friends. They like to travel. They love their freedom and space, and they are interested in the world exploration as well as the study of human behavior, culture, and religion. They share their knowledge with whoever seeks it. They love life and can be quite mischievous at times, and quite mischievous children. Because Sagittarius is a central column, which is the air element of the fire signs, it has the additional influence of air. The air fuels the fire and enables it to grow and expand, which is why Sagittarius can be a channel, an instructor, a teacher, a salesman, or any job in communication that combines the knowledge with humanity. Sagittarians are adventurous people who make excellent drivers, race drivers, and pilots. They love sports and challenge their destiny by taking unnecessary risks. Everything they do is on a large scale, and with the help of Jupiter, which expands the Sagittarian's mind in business, social, and romantic endeavors. The most important days are of Hanukkah, which begins on the 24th day and ends on the second day of Tevet, which is the following month of Capricorn. We light Hanukkah candles to connect the miracle that happened in the time of Hasmoneans. I'm working on my reading, y'all. When a day's worth of oil burnt for 8 days in the Holy Temple of Jerusalem. The amazing example of mind over matter took place because of the two letters that control this month. Those conditions, together with the metaphysical actions of the Hasmoneans, brought this miracle that happened 2,000 years ago. We are subject to the very same conditions every day on the 24th day of the month. This energy is revealed again for 8 days as long as we connect it through to the Hanukkah candles and allow us to create tremendous miracles in our lives. The power of miracles exists and is available for us to access every day of the year. We must simply light the candles with the right and proper meditations, and by that we activate this metaphysical system of miracles in our lives. So that gets into the praying of the candles and things like that. So that's it on a Kabbalah sense. Now we're going back to Metu Netter, and we're going to read about the Netter energy during this time. So this deals with Tahuti. The Yoruba is Ifa or Arumila. We went over that already. This deals with the second sphere. And when we get into the second sphere of manifestation is consciousness becomes aware that its energy or matter is unconditional and can take any form. Man's second body out of the 7 bodies, creative organs of being, realizations of power and will. The second act of creation. All things are protected, but the goal is the whole will. The will makes and creates and then makes creative faculties. So that's dealing with sphere 9 again. The faculty of man's spirit, understanding there's no limits to manifestation. All wills are one. So that's what I have for the second sphere. The planet Jupiter rules over this energy and it's also associated with Thursday. The colors blue and white are associated with this time. Blue is definitely communication, any form of communication, writing, talking, meditation, any type of anything throat chakras can do as far as manifesting and invocation and things. And white, which is the color of innocence and renewal and friendship. The number 8, which deals with authority and justice and law. And the gems during this time are yellow sapphire, which dealing with your sacral chakra, and lapis lazuli, which definitely deals with your throat chakra. As far as your baths go, Thuja is a good thing to have in your bath, and it deals with your respiratory tract infections, immune system boost, and it's also a good diuretic. As far as oils, you want to utilize lotus, which decreases swelling. It kills cancer cells and bacteria. It reduces blood sugar and it breaks down fat. It protects the skin, liver, and brain. Sweet almond is also good as a oil, and that's a good antioxidant and a radical fighting oil, and it also boosts your immune system. It helps with your memory, and it reduces cholesterol. And then the incense is the same thing as the oils, the lotus and the sweet almond. The spiritual direction is the southeast during this time, the Sagittarius time. This is the direction to face when you are performing your meditations and rituals for spiritual guidance. The Mun direction is the west. This is the direction to face when performing your rituals for mundane goals. It says see my yacht. I have to see my yacht. All right. For the physiological things, it says see my yacht. So let's get to it. Let's see my yacht. Jupiter is responsible for conservation, preservation, and expansion of life force and spiritual power. It is the establisher of physiological equilibrium and fruitfulness, hence the Fortuna Major and greater healing life force of the body. Its action is centered in the liver, where it is in charge of the production of storage of blood sugar and breakdown of protein waste and the regulation of sex hormones. It also exerts a major influence on arterial circulation and arterial blood itself. So that's what's happening. Use herbs to clear heat and disperse dampness. So again, we're dealing with the heat therapy. Yeah, everything is Maya as far as everything else. Let's go back to the Maya. Personality portfolio. Through its actions on the Kabit, the hot and moist energy of Jupiter has the following effects on the personality. Sphere 9, just, equilibrated, holistic, generous, sharing, optimistic, liberal, magnanimous, moral sense, and striving for advancement. Law-abiding, fair, charitable. Negative emotional traits during this time are greedy, negatively expansive, pleasure-seeking, boastful, extravagant, unlawful, materialistic, wasteful, unsocial, unsuccessful. And that's where that beautiful holiday of Christmas comes in, where everybody's overbuying things and fighting each other and doing the fucking most. Please be mindful of that energy during this time. Please. If not just for us as humans, for the fucking planet. Like, all that stuff y'all buy goes in the trash. And where's the trash going right now? Let's talk about it. Synthesis, gaining insight into things by unifying them through the use of abstract analogies, hence well fitted for physiological and theoretical, scientific, and religious pursuits. And during this time, the jobs are judges, lawyers, scientists, theologians, cardinals, bankers, merchants, priests, priestesses, hunters, officials, and managers. And guidance from the sage or an expert in the field inquired about, or oracles. This is a good time to go to an oracle or a sage and get some kind of reading for yourself during this time. So that's what we have for them. And then I want to read to y'all the different directions. So from September 21st to November 5th, sunset to 9 p.m., it's the west, and that's Tahuti and Sheps. Your parasympathetic has just gotten the upper hand just after being in equilibrium with the sympathetic. This is your spiritual and physical body. As the sun is setting, your body is cold and dry, but your nervous system is in a state of equilibrium. It is the optimum time for acquiring the oracle, receiving counsel, and studying the ancient wisdom as the basis for deciding on the course of your actions in the coming cycle. As we know, we're going to come into spring, and when spring comes, that'll be our new year. So this is definitely a time to seek counsel. Yes, your day begins at this point, not at sunrise. So your day will begin just a bit before the sun rises. When the sun rises, your plans for the day must have already been impressed upon your spirit. This is the key to success. Nekbet and Wachet are again in your balance above your brow. The mantras is Ong, Hong, Kshong. and before the arrival of the autumnal equinox, it is auspicious to cleanse the system by fasting with pungent herbs to purge the respiratory and mucus system, along with reducing your salt intake from this point on to the next equinox. The fast will assist in preventing the respiratory problems that tend to break out during the winter months. So this is not the time to overindulge into mucus formulating foods that are going to attach into the bacteria and the germs in the air. It's not a time to overeat. It's a time of fasting. The northwest is the direction from November 5th to December 21st, and that's 9 p.m. to midnight, and we're dealing with offset during that time. You have arrived at a point in your cycle where your body is cool, and it has begun to remoisten itself. So now we're cold and wet. Your receptivity, ability to respond emotionally to ideas is at its height. Go into medium mystic trance, renew your commitment to identifying yourself with your true self, and meditate on realizing the objectives decided upon the preceding period. If you have not eaten proteins in the last 3 to 4 hours, sweets will greatly enhance your ability to enter medium mystic trance. Remember that unless you impress your will on your life force, you will suffer the host of problems that are ignorantly labeled as lack of willpower, lack of perseverance, lack of devotion to an objective, and so on. Not that you have impressed your will upon your life force. It is time to go to sleep and let Kapir do the rest. So that's what we're dealing with as far as the spirituality of the season goes. Those are my readings for the Scorpio and Sagittarius reading. I hope they was to your liking. I hope you enjoyed them. I always enjoyed them. They're always exciting. And so now we are actually going to get into what the planets are doing. This is the part that you guys all have been waiting for. What time is it? Okay, it's 8 o'clock. I got like about 30 minutes, and I gotta go and start getting myself together. All right, so now we know what the sun is doing. We know where the sun is at. We know where it has been. So now we're going to get into the other planets and what they're doing and where they're going and where they have been. Okay, so we have Mercury. Mercury's been doing some things. Mercury was in retrograde. Mercury was in retrograde in the 3rd house in Scorpio. And the 3rd house deals with communication, transportation, your interests, habits, how one interacts with your immediate community. And while Mercury is traveling, in transit, it deals with how we receive important information and how we network. So while it was in retrograde and 3rd house dealing with communication, all this stuff, it was also in that Scorpio energy. So during that time, you may have felt like a little snappy with your words, maybe a little bit more witty, maybe speaking life into transformations and things like that. On the 28th, while Mercury was still in retrograde in 3rd house, enter Libra season. So while your communication was sensual and fiery and passionate and things like that, it started to dial back a little bit. Within that Libra season, you start to think a little bit more and evaluate a little bit more. On the 2nd of November, the retrograde ended. November 11th, Mercury is entering, which is tomorrow, I believe. Mercury is entering Scorpio in the 3rd house again. So we're coming back to that sensual, passionate communication involving transformation and rebirth and power, and secrets is coming out. People speaking. We talking. And then on the 25th of November, Mercury is going to enter the 4th house. And the 4th house is dealing with home and family. Is dealing with encouraging us to invest in our infrastructure and creating more private and nurturing spaces for ourselves. This deals with the Cancer energy. So we'll have our communication working towards us creating a sanctuary for ourselves starting November 25th, which is cool because that's like Thanksgiving. I don't know what day Thanksgiving is on. I keep forgetting that it's happening. But Thanksgiving is around that time. So that's the time where like you'll either have a Friendsgiving or Familysgiving. And y'all gonna think, hey, why we keep doing this shit? Let's stop doing Thanksgiving. Let's create something else. So when y'all sit at the dinner table with y'all family these holidays, please keep this video in mind. Play this video for y'all whole family and just revamp the way y'all been moving. It's definitely a time for it. December 2nd, Mercury is going to enter Sagittarius energy into the 4th house, and that's when we come with the love and abundance, the speaking on everyone and everyone having this sanctuary. Everyone needs to have this sanctuary. You're being generous, you're being optimistic. Just be mindful that you're not being overly optimistic and you're promising things you can't promise. I know I'm good for it. I just have a big mind, but I still work towards making things happen. I don't care. December 17th, Mercury is going to enter the 5th house. It's still being Sagittarius energy, but now it's moving into the 5th house with this. So instead of dealing with the home and family, now we're going into creativity and romance and pleasure. So now, like, you were dealing with your aunties and uncles and cousins, all that. Now you're coming in and you're dealing with the husband and the children and creating a safe sanctuary for them as well. So that's the energy that you'll be pulling into towards the end of Sagittarius season. And then on the 21st of December, then we're going to go into Mercury entering Capricorn energy, that energy of restrictions and boundaries and law and just rules and regulations in the 5th house. So we're going to create those sanctuaries, and then we're going to come and then we're going to create structure for those sanctuaries. And that's the beautiful energy that Mercury is bringing us during Scorpio and Sagittarius season. So moving on to Venus. Venus has been in Virgo in the 2nd house October 19th and went into that energy. The 2nd house deals with personal finances, your material possessions, whatever you find value in. And with Venus and Virgo in that area, you may have felt a need to just reevaluate like your finances and organize them a little bit, organize your love and what you're attracted to and things like that. You may have felt like a need to organize it a little better, find a little bit more order in it. During the 28th of October, Venus entered Libra in the 2nd house. And Libra, we're dealing with that fairness and balancing and loving energy, probably like a little too giving with that Venus energy, and also people pleasing. In the 2nd house, we're still dealing with the personal finances. So November 11th, which is tomorrow, Venus will be entering Libra in the 3rd house. So we're going into the 3rd house, which deals with communication and transportation and interest and things like that. So while Venus is in Libra in the 3rd house, Mercury will be in Scorpio in the 3rd house. So we're dealing with both of those planets in the same house, dealing with communication, transportation, interest, and habits. Whereas your communication will be speaking on it in a fiery, passionate way. Your Venus energy is being fair to everyone and giving and pleasing. So around tomorrow is definitely the time to have a sit down and do some open mics or have a meeting or something. Tomorrow is a good day for some things. And then Venus on the 21st of November, Venus enters Scorpio in the 3rd house. So then you'll have, Venus meeting up with Mercury for a little bit, for a couple days before Mercury goes into the 4th house. And so you'll have those planets still in that energy, but now we're dealing with it, both of them, in a fiery, passionate way. So you'll feel your passions on 1,000 around the 21st of November. December the 7th, we're dealing with Venus going into the 4th house, still in Scorpio. And the 4th house deals with home and family, your relationship with your maternal figure and your outlook on being domesticated and things like that. So when I make my jokes about cuffing season, so around December 7th, you'll have an idea in your mind of who it is that you're about to submit to, as far as cuffing season goes. And you'll also, just be like more inward. We're going inward into our homes and chilling with our kids and hanging out with our mothers and our grandmothers and things like that. Coming into the family spirit of the holidays and stuff. December 15th, Venus enters the 4th house of Sagittarius. And when we tune into that Sagittarius energy, that's the energy of chivalry and optimism and generous. So after you get out of that Scorpio energy, you're going to hit up that Sagittarius energy right after. So we're getting sensual, and then we're going out there and being generous. And see, look, it still aligns with the cuffing season pattern. Mars rules our animal instincts, our motivation and energy and desires, and how we express our anger and what makes us angry and what makes us act and how we direct our ambition. So Mars has been in retrograde. I know a lot of you guys have been dealing with being tired a lot. I know I have, and it's because Mars was indeed in retrograde in Aries in the 9th house, and that was going on from September 10th to October 28th, and then it ended. And we know that the 9th house deals with travel, philosophy, and higher education. When planets transit through this house, it helps one to begin studying a new topic or move to a foreign location or adopt a different perspective. So with us being tired, we were also doing those things. I know a lot of you guys are into nation building and going overseas now and building elsewhere. October 29th, Mars went into the 8th house because it was in retrograde. And it's still in the house of Aries. And the 8th house deals with sex, death, and rebirth. So we're dealing with that Pluto energy once again. And that was like right before... that was like right before election time. So that Mars was back in that Pluto energy. November 30th, Mars will be right back into the 9th house in Aries. So then we'll go right back into that Aries energy of travel and philosophy and higher education. So we were moving forward, we were building. Then we had to go backwards real quick and transform and rebirth. And then at the end of this month, we'll be back to building again and moving forward vigorously. Around the 14th is when the retrograde ends. You'll feel yourself starting to wake up a little bit and tapping into that Scorpio energy. Scorpio. Jupiter governs for generosity, tolerance, law, religion, tradition, order, business, growth, wisdom, and luck. Jupiter is in Capricorn in the 5th house, which it has been since December 2nd, 2019, and it will be there until December 7th, 2020. It takes about a year for Jupiter to go into another zodiac energy. On December 7th, Jupiter enters the 6th house, and it has been in the 5th house, which deals with creativity, romance, and pleasure in children. So you've been dealing with this generous, tolerant, expansive energy of Jupiter going into Capricorn, which is restrictions and stuff like that. So we've seen a tug of war with people in government and the power, the paradigm shift, shifting with the power and stuff like that. That's definitely the Jupiter and Capricorn energy. And then when it goes into the 6th house, you're dealing with wellness and daily routines. So once it enters 6th house and Capricorn during that weekend of the 7th, you'll feel more prone to shake it up with your routine. Certain things that we have been concreted in might get it will get shaken up. More concrete things, because Jupiter is an outer planet and it's a larger planet. So those things are more extreme than like Mercury or Venus or Mars that's constantly, you know what I'm saying? December 19th, Jupiter will be entering Aquarius, which is very exciting. I'm very excited for 2021. A whole year with Jupiter and Aquarius in the 6th house for our wellness and our health and our daily routines is definitely hopeful to see us expanding and becoming individualistic and free. And I always think of like a horse just whenever I think of Aquarius, I think of a horse just running. And that's the energy I get for, we dealt with the earthquake of change, and now it's, cleaning up the rubble. And that's the energy that Jupiter is going to give us with that. Saturn rules your restrictions, boundaries, depression, self-discipline, and how one may distance themselves. Also how one may be restraining themselves, their fears, and their challenges. Saturn is in Capricorn in 5th house, and it has been for quite some time now, for about a year or so now. And we know the fifth house is still dealing with the creativity, the romance, pleasure, and children. And Capricorn is still dealing with restrictions and stuff. So we felt that double whammy, right? With Capricorn, with Saturn and Capricorn, and being directed toward the 5th house. So we felt like a heaviness, opposition, the National Guard's coming out, the police. Every day the police are shooting someone and pretending like there's a whole backstory to it. When in reality, we know what it is. War is war, you feel me? It doesn't really matter why you're shooting someone. At the end of the day, you shot someone. The backstory is irrelevant. Stop shooting us. That's it. I don't understand why we need to hear details and backstories. Like, you're literally mentally allowing someone to justify killing you, killing your people. That's like, we have to think about like chess a little bit. Like, I always think about the stories we read in history where this country versus this country. First of all, Black people, we need to start recognizing ourselves as more than Black, because Black is a subject. It's not a nation. You can't say you want equality to a nation if you don't have a nation to be equal to. And when you deal with war, you gotta remove your emotions from the situation. You can't be like, oh, I love my enemy. I love the people that keep shooting at us. Like, you keep trying to be one with the issue. And that's not where it's at. And that's why we need to tap into this Haru Kahuti energy, as far as like not being afraid to as long as we're not being afraid to sacrifice ourselves for the greater good. November 20th, Saturn will be entering the 6th house. That's when we move that Capricorn energy from the house of creativity and romance into the house of health, wellness, and daily routines. And we'll be shaking up some of the restrictions and the challenges in that area. And then starting December 17th, Saturn is entering Aquarius. Again, coming into that free, individual, original, rebellious, detached energy and applying that to our daily routine. So 2021 is looking quite beautiful, don't you agree? I'm almost done, y'all. I got a couple more planets and then the moon. Uranus governs over one's ability, progressiveness, change, the force that makes one to do things in a new way. Uranus is in retrograde in Taurus, so we have this individual progressive energy inside of this stubborn, fixated energy. And so that's shaking up a lot of things that we've been holding near and dear and giving value to in our hearts. And that has been in retrograde since August 16th of 2020. And Uranus will remain in retrograde until November 14th, 2021. So we have another year of being shooken up. And Uranus will remain in Taurus in the 9th house until April 26, 2026. So after we get done shaking up, we're still gonna have Uranus in Taurus for about 5 more years after that. Neptune rules the subconscious, dreams, healing, inspiration, and psychic sensitivity. This is the dimension of life that cannot be experienced by the 5 senses. And Neptune has been in Pisces, so it's been, an amplification of spiritual energy. I see a lot of people tapping into their spirituality and things like that. It's in the 7th house. And the 7th house deals with how one deals with their one-on-one relationships, their importance and perspective and things like that. So your one-on-one relationships, if you are on the spiritual tip, you've been starting to find your spirit friends. You have been on the path of finding your spirit friends, your soul ties, your tribe, if you will. We've been connecting with our tribe this past time. And this has been going on since February 4th, 2012, and it will remain going on until January 26th, 2026. And Neptune is currently in retrograde. A lot of spiritualism has been going on haywire as we deal with, the Western tradition system, making us do the quite opposite of what we're supposed to be doing during this time. But don't get into it with that. But Neptune has been in retrograde since June 22nd and will remain in retrograde until the 29th, and then it'll go back forward. Pluto rules over death and rebirth, destruction and healing, power and secrets, and how one will transform. And Pluto is amplified during this time of Scorpio energy. Pluto has been in the 5th house of Capricorn, right along with Saturn and Jupiter. So we've been dealing with Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto all in the same energy this past year of 2020. And that's why we've had so many changes and so many restrictions being lifted and then implemented and in times 1,000, and then we fight back even harder. We're definitely dealing with a civil war right now. And those 3 planets, that energy above is definitely like a mirror to the energy below that we've been dealing with, national-wide country relationships and people relationships with the government. And this energy will be in this space it has been since January 26th of 2008, which is when Obama came into office. And it will remain in this energy until January 20th, 2024, after this presidential election is over and we bring our next president in. We will be coming into a whole new world that we're leaving behind for future generations. And we just have to be mindful of what kind of world we're leaving behind, because then after that, Pluto will be going into Aquarius, and that's the time of the rebel. Okay, so getting into the moons, we done did the sun, we did the planets, and now we're into the moons. The new moon is the moon of rebirth. This is the beginning moon phase to the moon cycle, representing rest and beginnings. This is the perfect time to go inward and get in tune with yourself and begin planning your goals for yourself and do rituals of growth. The new moon was on November 14th, and it was in Scorpio. So it will be in Scorpio. So, you're definitely going to definitely goal-oriented time. Write down them goals. Write down them goals, because the Scorpio energy is definitely full of goals. Maybe feeling real sensual, passionate about what you communicate during this time. So definitely clean your space and write down those goals. They're gonna come in abundance. You might write down some goals you never thought of before and like where they come from. And then on December 14th, the new moon will be in Sagittarius energy, and that's when you'll start to feel optimistic about your inwardness, the goals you have conquered and the goals you will conquer, and all of that fun stuff. And then we get into the full moon, which is the moon of celebration. This moon comes with a surge of energy. This is a great time to cleanse and charge yourself in your spaces. This is also a great time to finish any projects that you may have open, and a great time for cleansing and protection rituals. And we had our blue moon, which is our second full moon in the month of October. We had one on the 1st, which was in Pisces Aries energy. And then on the 31st, we had one in Earth. That was a nice like little trio combo full moon energy that we had during the month of October. Our full moon on the 31st was in Taurus, so like the love was on 1,000 that night. It was a beautiful night. November 29th, you're dealing with the full moon in Gemini, so you're definitely going to feel yourself all over the place, in multiple different areas. Trump might do something crazy. Kanye might do something crazy. They are Mercurians. I love my Mercurians. I ain't gonna hold you. I understand my Mercurians. You know, you're gonna feel yourself a little bit of everywhere, and it's gonna feel good, and we're gonna celebrate it. So be mindful of that as well. So that's what it's looking like for the Scorpio and Sagittarius energies. Hope you enjoyed that. If you like, I can give you a personal natal tarot reading. Just message me if you're interested. And what I do is I go over all your planets and the houses and the zodiac energy in your natal chart, and I pull a tarot card for each planet. And then I do an overall reading for your overall natal chart, and I send it to you in a video, and you can watch it at any point in time in your life for the rest of your life. I can also do I can also do transit readings for you as well if you're interested in transit readings. Transit readings in comparison to your natal readings. Just let me know. And that's what I got going on. I got a few events. Please check out my page, Sunshine Monet, Sunshine Monie. I have a healing auction on the 30th. I have the artist retreat the first week of December. I have the goddess retreat in January. It's just so much going on, so much unraveling, and I hope that you guys can show up, and we'll all be in tune in the physical. If not, definitely the spiritual, and the internet has definitely helped us with being together in a spiritual sense without being able to be together physically. I'm just excited for 2021, man. 2020, the year energy was all about that Capricorn energy and just coming out of those restrictions and boundaries and challenges and facing fears. And this last month of this Capricorn energy, I want y'all to end this shit with a bang, y'all. Because when we enter that rebellion energy of Aquarius in 2021, let me tell you, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be poetic. And then at the end of this presidential term, we'll be coming into a new era with our Pluto finally entering into Aquarius as well with Jupiter and Saturn. And it's going to be the 6-7 years of the rebel, of the rebel. And I'm with it. Let's Mad Max this hoe. So that's what it is. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoyed this. I love y'all. Peace, prosperity, and abundance.